Hostin's attorney told the Daily Mail, ironically or unironically, his client denies each and every allegation and called the lawsuit, unironically, blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier.
At this point, everyone knows the scandals surrounding Sunny Hostin and her husband, Dr. Emanuel Hostin. The $100 million RICO lawsuit, the accusations of insurance fraud, fake medical procedures, and the massive web of corruption, none of this is new. But what makes it even more unbelievable is how Sunny responded. Instead of facing the backlash head-on, she fled the country right when things were heating up. And when that didn't work, she came crawling back, only to find that the situation had spiraled even further out of control. And it doesn't stop there. The bankruptcy? That's a whole different mess, and we'll get into that later in this video. But for now, let's break down exactly how Sunny's carefully curated public image has completely unraveled, and why things are only getting worse from here. So how did we even get here? It all started with whispers in the medical community about Dr. Emanuel Hostin's unusual billing practices. Patients were undergoing surgeries that they didn't need. Medical records were being altered. And when insurance companies started looking into the numbers, things weren't adding up. That's when federal investigators stepped in. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Hostin was at the center of a massive insurance fraud scheme, one that involved a network of corrupt medical professionals, fake procedures, and illegal kickbacks.
In what appears to be an ironic twist of fate, the husband of Sunny Hostin, from The View, he has been accused of federal insurance fraud in the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York.
He was allegedly billing insurance companies for surgeries that either never happened or were completely unnecessary. And we're not talking about a handful of cases. This was systematic fraud on a scale so large that it landed him among nearly 200 defendants in what is now one of New York's largest RICO cases. The evidence? Investigators reportedly found fake medical records, suspicious transactions, and even recordings of doctors discussing how to maximize profits by gaming the system. If proven guilty, Dr. Hostin isn't just looking at financial penalties, he could be facing serious prison time. Now here's where things take a dramatic turn. Just as the scandal was starting to gain traction, Sunny Hostin, who has spent years lecturing America about morality and justice, left the country. That's right. While her husband was being named in a federal lawsuit, she packed her bags and disappeared. Why? Well, some sources claim she was trying to distance herself from the allegations, hoping that being out of sight would keep her name out of the headlines. Others believe she was desperately trying to protect whatever assets she could before the courts got involved. Whatever the reason, her sudden departure raised a lot of eyebrows.
Tell me why her husband is named in a lawsuit in insurance fraud. The court is in session. Judge, can we show?
But here's the kicker. She came back, and not because she wanted to clear her name or defend her husband. No, she returned because the situation had spiraled even further out of control. The media was all over the story, public backlash was growing, and legal experts were already speculating about what would happen if investigators started looking into her finances too. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a short getaway. Sunny was noticeably absent from public appearances for an extended period, fueling speculation about where she had gone and why she had chosen to flee at such a crucial moment. Some reports suggest she had sought legal counsel abroad, attempting to determine if there were ways to protect her fortune from potential asset seizures. Meanwhile, her return to the US was far from triumphant. Instead of regaining control of the narrative, she found herself drowning in even more controversy. Critics slammed her for attempting to run when things got tough, and many questioned whether her decision to come back was influenced by legal pressure. Even now, there are whispers that Sunny may have had a bigger role in her husband's alleged schemes than she's letting on. While there's no official evidence tying her directly to the fraudulent activities, the optics are bad, very bad. And if prosecutors decide to widen their investigation, Sunny's financial dealings might end up under the microscope sooner rather than later. Sunny Hostin has spent years grilling public figures on The View, calling for accountability and positioning herself as a moral authority. But now, the tables have turned. The media is tearing into her with the same intensity she once reserved for politicians and celebrities caught in scandals. Major outlets have questioned her credibility, and clips of her past statements calling for justice and ethics have resurfaced, only now they're being used against her. And let's not forget The View itself. Sources say tensions are running high behind the scenes, with some questioning whether Sunny's continued presence on the show is damaging its reputation. The public isn't buying Sunny's silence either. Social media has erupted with debates over whether she knew about her husband's alleged crimes. Some defend her, arguing that she's just caught in the crossfire. Others say there's no way she was unaware, especially considering the lavish lifestyle they were living.
I've been waiting my whole life for this one. Orthopedic surgeon and husband for The View host Sonny Hostin has been named in a federal lawsuit alleging insurance fraud. She got on television. She got in. She run these women. Tell me why she got her husband is named in a lawsuit in insurance fraud, and I'm gonna show you exhibit. Let me say exhibit B. Can you show this to the jury? Roll it, Nick.
You know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance.
What?
And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud. I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence for him.
Memes, commentary videos, and hashtags calling for accountability are spreading like wildfire. For someone who has built her brand on being outspoken, her refusal to address the controversy head-on is only making things worse. Now let's talk about the bankruptcy, because this is where everything falls apart. Facing mounting lawsuits and the possibility of losing everything, Sonny and Dr. Hostin made a desperate move. They filed for bankruptcy. But was this a legitimate financial decision, or was it just another scheme to dodge responsibility? According to reports, the couple had been living way beyond their means. We're talking luxury vacations, sprawling estates, designer wardrobes, the whole high society lifestyle. And now, with the RICO lawsuit threatening to drain their accounts, sources claim they were scrambling to shield their wealth from creditors. But here's the twist: investigators aren't buying it. In fact, there are allegations that before filing for bankruptcy, the couple attempted to hide assets by transferring property deeds, liquidating high-value items, and making suspicious financial moves. If proven true, this wouldn't just be a case of financial mismanagement. It could open the door to even more legal trouble, including charges of defrauding creditors. Now let's break this down further. Allegedly, right before they filed for bankruptcy, large sums of money started moving between different accounts associated with Sonny and Dr. Hostin. Some properties they owned were reportedly transferred to third parties, possibly as an attempt to avoid seizure by the courts. Luxury cars and expensive jewelry that had been flaunted on social media suddenly vanished from their possession. All of this points to a clear effort to prevent their assets from being used to settle the looming legal debts. Investigators are reportedly looking into whether Sonny herself had a direct role in these financial maneuvers. While she hasn't been named as a defendant in the RICO case, if it's proven that she was knowingly involved in asset concealment, she could face serious legal consequences of her own. And if that happens, her career on The View and any hope of rebuilding her public image could be completely destroyed.
Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emanuel Hostin is among nearly 200 defendants named in this case. He is accused of getting kickbacks by performing surgery and fraudulently billing a company that insures taxi companies, Uber, and Lyft drivers. This lawsuit alleges that Hostin and his co-defendants knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries. The insurance firm American Transit was then billed in exchange for kickbacks and/or other compensation, which were disguised as dividends or other cash distributions.
Even though bankruptcy is meant to offer financial relief, it's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. Creditors can still challenge the filing, especially if they believe it was done in bad faith. If the court finds that Sonny and Dr. Hostin were deliberately manipulating the system to protect their wealth, they could be forced to liquidate assets they thought were safe. Worse, if fraudulent activity is confirmed, it could lead to criminal charges, making this entire situation even messier than it already is. For now, the bankruptcy may temporarily shield them from immediate financial ruin, but it's not the end of their troubles. The legal battles are just beginning, and if they were hoping this would make their problems disappear, they're in for a rude awakening. Their luxurious lifestyle is now under a microscope. Their every financial move is being scrutinized, and with investigators closing in, it's only a matter of time before the truth is fully exposed. While the bankruptcy may have been an attempt to escape financial ruin, legal experts say it won't necessarily protect the couple from liability in the RICO case. If prosecutors can prove fraud, not only could Dr. Hostin face criminal charges, but there could also be a case for financial penalties against Sonny if she's found to have played any role in asset concealment. Some legal analysts believe that more charges could be added as investigations continue. If federal prosecutors decide to push harder, this scandal could take an even darker turn for the Hostins. With all the controversy surrounding Sunny, The View has a tough decision to make. Does it stand by her and risk losing credibility, or does it quietly push her out? Insiders claim that producers are already weighing their options, and there's talk that this scandal could lead to her departure. If that happens, it would be the ultimate irony. Sunny Hostin, who spent years holding others accountable, being forced out of the very platform she used to criticize others. And here's the thing, producers are reportedly under pressure from both advertisers and network executives. With sponsors growing wary of being associated with such a high-profile controversy, The View may not have the luxury of simply waiting for the storm to pass. If ratings begin to dip and public trust erodes, the network may be forced to make an example out of Sunny, cutting ties to salvage its reputation. Meanwhile, some reports suggest that Sunny herself is already considering an exit strategy. Facing increasing scrutiny, she might try to frame her departure as a personal choice rather than a forced resignation. A well-timed stepping away to focus on family statement could help her maintain some dignity while avoiding the humiliation of being fired outright. However, this approach isn't foolproof. If she leaves amid mounting pressure, it will only reinforce the narrative that she's running from accountability, something that would haunt her public image for years. Whether she fights to stay or tries to make a graceful exit, one thing is certain. Her days on The View may be numbered, and there's no easy way out of this mess. So what's next for Sunny and Dr. Hostin? More legal battles, financial struggles, and public humiliation seem almost certain. The investigations aren't slowing down, and as more details emerge, things could get even worse. Sunny's career, reputation, and future all hang in the balance. Will she finally break her silence and take accountability, or will she continue to act like a victim while her world crumbles around her? One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. So what happens next? Will Dr. Hostin manage to escape the worst of the legal fallout, or is he heading toward a lengthy prison sentence? And what about Sunny? Will she finally take accountability, or will she continue to play the victim while her world collapses around her? One thing's for sure, this scandal isn't going away anytime soon. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because there is so much more to this story. Stay tuned.